So the third round of the FA Cup took place last weekend, and Chelsea actually participated well and managed to progress through these third rounds. Big teams such as Arsenal have been knocked out, and Chelsea put out a very good result, and this was a 4-0 win. And the thing that we're going to discuss is what are the tactical changes that Pochettino implemented, because Chelsea were not quite dominant in the first half, especially in the attacking areas, and all 4 goals were scored in the second half. That is what we are going to try to understand. So, Chelsea lined up in their usual 4-2-3-1 system, with Enzo Fernandez coming in to play alongside Moises Caicedo in midfield. Alfie got his debut in the FA Cup, with Gusto starting as the left back and Raheem Sterling, Mudryk and Broja playing ahead, with Palmer playing behind Broja. On the other hand, Preston played with a 5-3-2 system, and this 5-3-2 system was mainly a lower block, and majority of the time they did not want to press or commit players forward, but rather to hold their shape. So before we even begin our analysis, we're going to ask you to kindly subscribe to our second channel, Talk Football TY Clips. Here we do videos on other teams such as Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, and all other teams across Europe. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel on that. So, Armando Broja managed to open the scoring for Chelsea around the 56th minute in the second half, and Thiago Silva came on and immediately netted the second one, and this made Chelsea to take away the game from Preston. So, what are the tactical changes that Pochettino made in the second half that saw Chelsea not have the usual result they have against lower blocks? And is this the blueprint that Mauricio Pochettino can use in future games, especially Chelsea games, where he struggles, especially the team struggles against playing these deep, compact, defensive lower blocks? Before we even begin our analysis, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. So, Preston did not press Chelsea high, and majority of the time they sat in their deep 5-3-2 system. This system was quite difficult to break down, with the deepest midfielder picking Cole Palmer in between the lines, while the forwards playing just deeper and allowing Chelsea centre-backs on the ball, as their main aim was to cut central progression to Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. And this is the system. You can see the Chelsea centre-backs have time and space on the ball, but Preston are mainly focusing on denying Chelsea any space in midfield. Here again, you can see once the fullback receives the ball, now the Preston midfielder can push forward, but majority of the time you'll just find that the forward man will be the one who will be pressing the fullback. Now, down the right hand side, Alfie was not quite an attacking threat, and majority of the time he would pass the ball to Raheem Sterling, and Raheem Sterling in this space will only have the option of Cole Palmer, who would be marked with 2 players, a wide centre back and a wide midfielder, limiting any threat that Chelsea could pose down the wide areas, and majority of the time the ball will just be played back to Alfie. And since Preston had a huge numerical overload in midfield and in the wide areas, Chelsea find it problematic in beating this system. Now, majority of the threat in the first half usually occurred down the left-hand flank. And this happened when Enzo Fernandez will drop deep. And once Enzo Fernandez will drop deep, he will look to receive the ball, allowing Malo Gusto to be making those runs forward. Now, Gusto and Mudryk tried to create overload against the wing-back, but since Gusto is not a traditional left-back, he really struggled, especially trying to cut in with his right foot. So Gusto would be the one overlapping, with Mudryk coming central. Now, Gusto in this position would either attempt to play the ball to Mudryk, or because they would be outnumbered in these kinds of position, he would attempt to play the ball to Mudryk, and majority of the time Mudryk in this position where he will be crowded, he will lose the ball since he wants to take out a man, and immediately Chelsea would find themselves defending a counter attack. And this happened time and time again, especially in the first half, where Chelsea lost control when Mudryk lost the ball. Now, because Chelsea were having problems penetrating Preston's solid structure, Mauricio Pochettino's team faced a lot of problems in this system, with Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo in midfield, and having 5 players attacking who would be marked with all the 5 defenders that Preston had, as well as the 3 midfielders who will narrow the space and deny any space in between the lines, and therefore players such as Palmer will have to step out of these blocks so that they can try to effect the game. The lines between the defense and midfield were so compact, and therefore the 2 forwards will sit on Enzo and Caicedo, and even if a wingback will be dropping deep to receive the ball, he will be tracked with his opposing wingback, and therefore time and time again Malo Gusto will find himself marked and just be forced to play the ball backwards, where the ball will be circulated from left to right, right to left, and this continued again. Now, in the second half is where now Mauricio Pochettino made a tactical change, and this tactical change is what saw Chelsea manage to put 4 past Preston. So, unlike in the first half when Chelsea were building up, we started to see Moises Caicedo operating more of a single pivot, with Enzo playing alongside Palmer as the number 8. Now, unlike in the first half where Alfie was not quite adventurous bombing forward, Alfie started to hug the touchline and push forward to operate almost like a wing back. Now, what happened is that now this would push Sterling to play more central and play in the half space channel. This would make Chelsea have as many as 7 players or 6 players attacking the line, with sometimes Enzo Fernandez also joining this. And this will just leave Caicedo and the 2 centre backs at the back. So, Chelsea will create a numerical advantage of 6 players, with Mudryk and Sterling coming in field and the 2 fullbacks holding the width, with Caicedo and Enzo playing in behind. This will force Preston far back and deny them even the opportunity to counter-attack. Sterling in this position will receive the ball under tight pressure and still use his excellent dribbling skills to penetrate the wide centre-back. Now, what was interesting was what was happening down the left. And down the left is where we saw a lot of strength. So Gusto in this position, together with Mudryk, will try to create numerical overloads with Caicedo, with Enzo also pushing there. And we started to see Broja dropping from his forward line and pushing to try to create the overload down the left. The main aim was to disjoint Preston's defense line and enable Chelsea to penetrate through that defense. And we will see Enzo playing quick 1-2 passes with Broja, while Mudryk will be attempting those runs behind Chelsea's defense and midfield line. You can see from this position, Broja has dropped deep. He has dragged the centre back out of position, and now Mudryk is making run in space. So Enzo Fernandez was quick enough to spot the runs of Mudryk and immediately plays the ball to Mudryk, who was making runs in this space. Therefore, the centre-backs had to shift into a more of a back 4 system to try and come and cover up these spaces where wingers were coming out to try and exploit. So this would create spaces for Sterling or Palmer to receive the ball directly from Mykhailo Mudryk, and once they would receive the ball, another player would be making diagonal runs behind the centre-backs. Like in this situation, you can see Preston are now in a back 4. Now, when this would happen, we started to see Chelsea look more dominant and solid. Now, Thiago Silva came in and Chelsea moved to a back 3 system, and Noni Madueke also came in. And now Chelsea played with a more of a 3-1-6, with 5 players playing behind Broja, with Raheem Sterling pushing towards the left and Noni Madueke coming towards the right. And this will be aided with Malo Gusto moving to his preferred right-wing position, where he would link up with earlier on Raheem Sterling and later on Noni Madueke. Now, in this kind of position, what we will see is that we will see players attempting to make these crosses down the far areas. Now, Chelsea are taking up a positive win, especially in the start of the year, which can be quite an instrumental boost for them this season. Chelsea had a very terrible 2023 and would like to rectify their terrible form in 2023 this year. Now, this game showcased Mauricio Pochettino's adaptation, especially in the second half. And this will give him questions on whether he should implement some of these tactics when he's facing lower blocks in the Premier League. But was quite an adventurous game, and a game where Chelsea was supposed to win emphatically. And Mauricio Pochettino can take the second half performance forward and attempt to carry the form onto the game against Middlesbrough and the game in the Premier League. If you've liked this video, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.